Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss the duties of an American scholar according to Ralph Waldo Emerson. A scholar should spread the idea of culture and basic unity of all. Emerson says that people in this world yearn for money and power. He says that it is quite natural because men consider this to be the greatest aim and the highest possible achievement. Emerson says that if people realize that this is a false aim or object, they will not run after power for office and also leave the government to be run by clerks and petty officials. He says that it is the duty of a scholar to bring this awakening in the people so that people stop running after this false God. This revolution in the minds of people can be brought about by the scholar by developing a gradual understanding and spreading the idea of culture. Emerson uses the term domestication of the idea of culture. This means that the art and literature which focus on domestic issues which can be easily related, and this literature has a greater capacity to convey the truth rather than through the romances or lofty poetry which is written in a language which only the highly educated and learned people can understand. A scholar should try to understand human nature, which means understanding the nature of all particular men. What is most important is the upbuilding of man. He says that each poet, actor, or philosopher has done for us what we can ourselves do one day. People are exhausted, tired, reading books which are great. They now require new books because there is no single book or single man or a single idea that can feed the world forever, and the human mind is like a central fire or light which comes out or beams out of 1,000 stars. This light is not limited, and it is the duty of a scholar to keep this light alive in different ages and different places. The soul of all men is common. One soul is common for all men. One light shines from 1,000 stars. Therefore, it is very important for a scholar to understand this truth and develop his own spiritual faculties. He must understand that it is one divine nature that permeates all nature and all men. Therefore, money and power are secondary to the ability of understanding men. This understanding can make the scholar unite a divided society. A scholar should help in ushering a golden age. Different ideas have predominated different ages of time historically. For example, the classical age, the romantic age, and the reflective or philosophical or modern age. Emerson says that all these ages are not different and considers them to be one. He says that he does not pay much importance to the superficial differences of these ages. He believes in the oneness of mankind and believes that an individual passes through all these three stages in his lifetime. Emerson believes that boyhood or childhood represents Greek or classical ideas. Youth represents romantic ideas, and adulthood is reflective. He, however, accepts the revolution or cyclical nature of knowledge in the life of a person as well as society. He says that some people regret that this is an age of introversion. He argues that introversion is not an evil. It is not bad to be critical and try to see things deeply. Introversion is not a negative trait. If the society desires to know and understand everything, it is something which is beneficial for the society and should be welcome. To get rid of ignorance and to see and to gain knowledge through introversion is fruitful for the society. Emerson says that this is happening because people find themselves in a different state of mind as their fathers, and therefore they lack guidance. He says that this is a welcome sign for American society, which seems ready for a revolution. Emerson states that the present time is the best time for a person to be born. This time is a good time if we know what to do with it. He says that there are signs of revolution in poetry, art, philosophy, science, church, and state. He expresses his belief that in the inevitability of an American artistic revolution. He states that a golden age seems to be at hand, and it is the duty of a scholar to play his role, that is, to contribute in the ushering of a golden age of possibilities.